Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Cinema Savvy. It is myself, George, joined once more by Tate for our annual video. You may have seen on the news today that the Oscar nominations have come out, the announcement, the stream. And as we do every year, we're going to be going through our predictions. We do it on the first day. We're normally wrong by the time of the ceremony, but it's a nice way to kickstart Oscars season. But before we start getting into the ins and outs of what we're going to do today, Tate, how are we doing?
I'm doing very good. I am very excited to talk about the Oscars. This is one of my favorite times of year with film. Just talking about films being nominated for awards and just talking about the best films that we've had over the previous year.
Definitely, and it's going to be interesting today. There's been some, as we'd expect, some big snubs, some surprises, some shockers. We're not going to go through category one by one and say what we thought was great, what not. This is our predictions video, and kind of if you're familiar with how we do this in the past, we'll go over the rules. It will build up to our Oscars live stream. There will be three of us on the day, Sunday the 12th of March. It's the same day as the finale, at the same time as The Last of Us. That is going to be quite a schedule nosebreaker for some. But we want to hear your thoughts today. So please do comment below with your thoughts on the Oscars, your thoughts on today's predictions. Is there anything you thought was outrageous? Is there anything you really agree with? We want to just get your thoughts on that. And we'll make it interactive as well as we do every other year. So if you want to get involved, go in the description on this video, and there will be an attachment to a Google Drive folder. If you download that, it's got drop-down menus, so you can access it, watch it, do it however you please. Email it back to us. We will put you in the inclusion for the night for the big Oscars predictions game that we do, which is the core of this today. Which I should have gone over the rules first, shouldn't we? But before we do that, where can everyone find us when we've got other videos to announce?
You can find us all over the place. We are most active on Twitter and Instagram at cinema_savvy. You can find us on Facebook and Letterboxd as well. Just type in Cinema Savvy or go into the link in the description below. And also go onto our Redbubble page to pick up some merch. I don't think we have any Oscars merch at the moment, but you can still pick up our normal merch as well, with logos and various different things on it.
Definitely. So if you are curious, everyone, do take a look at stuff like that. It is the best place to find us for social media stuff. We tend to announce our videos, what else is going on, anything else is always on there. So do check that out. And I guess kind of going off the predictions and what we usually do with this, we already have an Oscars playlist on the channel. So if you go on our YouTube homepage, underneath the reviews playlist, you will see a 2023 Academy Awards playlist. It starts off this prediction video, and then we've got everything we've reviewed that's nominated, starting with the best film nominees, then like acting stuff, and then it sort of sorts itself out. So if you're curious about some of these films, maybe you missed them when they came out months ago, maybe you want to catch up to them, or you're curious, do check that out. Obviously, a lot of them were done many months ago, and some of them wouldn't have even been in the conversation of the Oscars. I had the Batman video in, and we were doing, the Batman came out during Oscar season for last year, which is really really weird to think about that it's picked up a load of nominations today. So that's quite an interesting one. But kind of, Tate, do you want to explain to everyone how we do the point system for this and how we do get everyone else involved?
Yes, sure. So we have all of the categories listed. I believe there will be a link in the description where you're able to make your own list yourselves at the end of the video. You pick your first choice, what you think is going to win, and also your second choice as your backup option. Your first choice, if it does end up winning, earns you 3 points, and your second choice earns you 1 point. If whatever you pick ends up not winning the category, then sadly you get a massive blank across that category, which does happen sometimes. It completely throws us for a loop, and yeah, it's just a nice little bit of competition. But please make sure that if you do fill out your sheet, fill out every single category, even the ones that no one really knows much about. It's always fun to try and figure out what's going to win, say, for example, best live action short film. I know there are some very interesting titles for some of the short films this year in the categories, which I guess we'll go over in a bit. But yeah, something that everyone in the channel can get involved in. And also we have our internal competition, which is once again running this year. Myself and George, we've been battling over the years trying to predict who would win over the Oscars.
It's the 8th year.
It is the 8th year. What is the grand total? I have no idea at this point.
I checked it earlier. You've won 4. I've won it 3 times. So
Perfect.
Between us, and this was the outright winner of the night as well. 7 years. Obviously, last year we had the competition running, so obviously a lot of them scored higher. And as we tend to say, we do the predictions on the day of the Oscar nominations. We know by the ceremony what's a good pick and what isn't. And it might be something might sweep in the next 2 weeks, but kind of as an overview, the BAFTAs is very different to the Oscars this year. They have not gone for the same again, which I think is great. I think the BAFTAs could still learn a lot more and focus on British films, but they choose not to. They just put everything in it, and at least it's not as obvious a precursor as it used to be. But aside from that, let's get going. So, do you want to go first? Have you got the list to hand?
I do have the list to hand straight away.
Perfect. So sorry, you go in, and then for everyone at home, we'll say our first choice first, then the second choice, and then we'll go to the next category. So if you're curious at home, one of the reasons is it's an online log, so when we get to the competition, we've said what we're going to say, which is the rules, so it also helps.
Perfect. So best visual effects is the first category up. My number one choice is Avatar: The Way of the Water. I think it'd be unusual if you didn't pick that. And my number two choice is Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah, I'm the same here. Avatar. I mean, you could literally just put Avatar and it's done and dusted. And then the second choice, Top Gun Maverick.
So we do actually have a third contestant this year who I believe is joining, correct?
Yes. So Dave is going to be on the stream with us on the Oscar Sunday. And then what we're going to do this Sunday, we're going to have the first stream of this monthly thing we've mentioned. Dave's going to be jumping on, and then Dave's going to give his predictions as well. So that's a polite thing on there, that there will be three of us on the main stream, but we don't have his predictions hand. We'll be saying them on Sunday.
Yeah, for the categories where we do have, the same picks, it is kind of a blank, but it's always nice to have at least one where it's, a second choice might be slightly different, or someone's gone completely wild and off the rails and picked not Avatar for best visual effects. Let's go into best film editing. I've got Top Gun Maverick as my number one pick, and Everything Everywhere All at Once as my second pick.
Okay, editing, I've got Everything Everywhere All at Once at number one and Top Gun Maverick at number two.
Ooh, interesting. Best costume design, I've got Black Panther Wakanda Forever at number one and Elvis at number two.
I've got Babylon at number one and Elvis at number two.
Best makeup and hairstyling, I've got The Whale at number one and Elvis at number two.
I've got Elvis at number one and Black Panther at number two.
Interesting. Best cinematography. Are we going to talk about this category first, or are we going to?
This is the controversial one for today. That they've missed out the three really obvious ones that were long listed. One of them today, All My Buy Side, has genuinely caused a stir online that I didn't think it would, but everyone's gone mad. Essentially, there's one good pick and four awful ones. But the problem is it might end up like a Bohemian Rhapsody, where that won editing, and it was one of the worst edited films that year. So it's cinematography. It's a bad day for cinematographers, I'm guessing. It's not gone down well with the public, and it's very questionable. A lot of the things missing. It's not like one's missed it and you can be annoyed to say, oh, they've missed it. But when you're missing three or four from a major one, that's when you start thinking, who's done this? Who's been voting this and why?
Either way, my pick was always going to be this pick, which is very interesting, which is All Quiet on the Western Front as my number one choice and Bardo as my number two, just because it's Inarritu. I guess it's going to be pretty.
I've gone for All Quiet on the Western Front as my number one, and then I've just put Elvis as number two.
Yeah. Production design, I have gone with Avatar: The Way of the Water at number one and Babylon at number two.
I've gone with Babylon at number one and Elvis at number two.
You've picked a lot of Elvis so far.
It's going to be very popular. It's going to be incredibly popular for their voters.
You do have to. There, it is once again an American awards show, so it might do very, very well. Best sound design, I've gone with Top Gun Maverick at number one and Avatar: The Way of the Water at number two.
Best sound, I've got Top Gun Maverick number one and All Quiet on the Western Front number two.
Good. Best original song, and I really do hope this wins it. I haven't seen the film yet, but I think it'd be great for Indian cinema. Naatu Naatu from RRR at number one and Lift Me Up, Black Panther Wakanda Forever at number two.
I've got Naatu Naatu at number one and Hold My Hand at number two.
Best original score, I've got Babylon at number one and The Fabelmans at number two.
Yeah, Babylon number one, Fabelmans number two for me.
Here we go. Best animated short film. Now, I didn't want to go for that one pick. I didn't want to do it because I knew that other people would. And I wanted to make it different. So I went with The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. And as my number 2 pick, An Ostrich Told Me the World is Fake and I Believe Him. Is that what the name of the film is?
Yeah. The
Yeah.
stream today, when Riz Ahmed had to pronounce it, he just could. Everyone was laughing, and it was the awkward pause, and he did a good job. But it's just it's what it is. I've got number 1, The Flying Sailor, and number 2, My Year of Dicks.
Okay, best live action short film. I've gone with An Irish Goodbye at number 1 and The Red Suitcase at number 2.
I've gone with La Pupil at number 1 and An Irish Goodbye at number 2.
Best documentary short film. I've gone How Do You Measure a Year at number 1 and The Elephant Whisperers at number 2.
I've got Stranger at the Gate at number 1 and The Elephant Whisperers at number 2.
Best documentary feature. I've gone with All the Beauty and the Bloodshed at number 1 and Navalny at number 2.
I've got Fire and Love at number 1 and All That Breathes at number 2. And then I didn't realize until like this afternoon that Moonish Daydream just didn't get nominated, which is one of the big
Yeah.
There was talk of that up for sound. There was talk of that up for technicals, not just documentary, and it got nothing, which is very strange.
Mad. Very interesting. Okay, best international feature film. I've gone with All Quiet on the Western Front at number 1 and Argentina 1985 at number 2.
Yeah, same here. All Quiet number 1, Argentina number 2.
Best animated film. This one I also want to talk about a little bit. We're going to do our video at some point, going through all of the best animated films of the year as a roundup at some point before the awards ceremony. Very interesting. There's been a few late surges, a few films which I thought, wow, they didn't pick the Pixar film or they didn't pick the DreamWorks film or the Disney film. But in the end, I've gone with Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio at number 1 and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish at number 2.
Yeah, Pinocchio number 1, Puss in Boots number 2.
Perfect. Best adapted screenplay. I've gone with All Quiet on the Western Front at number 1 and Women Talking at number 2.
Okay, I've gone Women Talking number 1 and number 2. I've gone with Glass Onion to throw it in there.
I think it deserved it. It was a very good script.
It'll be very popular, I think, with them.
Now, I think this category decides who wins Best Picture, so it's going to be very interesting to see which wins it. But Best Original Screenplay, I've gone with Everything Everywhere All at Once at number 1 and The Banshees of Inisherin at number 2.
I've got Banshees of Inisherin at number 1 and The Fabelmans at number 2.
Ooh, interesting. Best Supporting Actress, I've gone with Angela Bassett at number 1 for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever and Kerry Condon for The Banshees at number 2.
Same at Angela Bassett number 1, number 2 Kerry Condon. The first Marvel acting Oscar nomination,
and it's probably going to win. I think everyone was even when the trailer came out, everyone was like, "Well, she's got Best Supporting Actress straight away," which is quite funny. Best Supporting Actor. I pray to God this happens. Ke Huy Quan, Everything Everywhere All at Once at number 1, and Brendan Gleeson, Banshees at number 2.
Same, Ke Huy Quan number 1, Brendan Gleeson number 2. Also, Brendan Gleeson's first ever Oscar nomination, which 16 of the 20 acting categories were their first nominations today, which I thought was insane.
Absolutely fantastic. Best Actress. I think this is set already, but Cate Blanchett, Tar number 1, and Michelle Yeoh, Everything Everywhere number 2.
Yep, Cate Blanchett number 1, Michelle Yeoh number 2.
Yeah. Best Actor, which I think was another category every single minute was time. That's amazing. That's really good. Number 1, Brendan Fraser for The Whale. Number 2, Colin Farrell for Banshees.
Okay. I'm going number 1, Austin Butler, and number 2, Brendan Fraser. I think there's a lot of momentum on him. I think the BAFTA is going to be like a Banshees like whitewash, and then I think Oscars is just going to be everyone. Not everyone, all at once. Oscars is going to be so much more open than BAFTAs. I think.
I think it's going to be a surprising. Well, as I predicted here, I think it's going to be a surprising sweep for Everything Everywhere. Best
There's a
director.
top 3. It's Butler, Fraser, and Farrell. They're the top 3 by a country mile. I know Paul Mescal. Everyone was going in. They love the fact he's nominated, which was a big one. It was him or Cruz for the 5th slot. But yeah, there's a clear top three, and I think everyone wins whoever wins out of those three.
Best director. Now, this one I toyed with for quite a while. I'm going with the Daniels for Everything Over All at Once because I think the way I've predicted all the other categories, I think the momentum's going to be with them. And I'm going with Spielberg for number 2 because you just don't bet against Spielberg.
I've got number 1 Spielberg, number 2 Daniels.
Yeah.
That's going to be the really interesting one.
And now it's best picture, best film. If everyone's been following my predictions so far, it's going to kind of follow the same train. I genuinely think Coda was the start of something. I think actually Parasite was the start of something. I think they realized that you don't have to give the best picture anymore to the film that's, you know, the most kind of, you know, Oscar pandering and, you know, Oscar baity movie. I think film is good enough now that we can kind of pick and choose which film is the best of the year. It doesn't have to sit into one category or not. And I think one that's breaking all the categories is Everything Over All at Once. And that's why I picked it as my number 1. And I've gone with Banshees at number 2 because I feel like if they're going to give Martin McDonagh, you know, an Oscar, it could be for that.
Okay, this can make it fun. I've got number 1 Fablemans.
Ooh.
Which no, that's my safe bet. Number 2, I've got Top Gun Maverick, which I think is going to be the dark horse. Because now the Oscars do the median voting system, which is exactly why Coda and Green Book won.
Exactly. But I agreed with Coda.
I'm not ruling out Top
I
Gun.
agreed with Coda. I didn't agree with Green Book.
If you've got a film that sits at number 4, if 1,000 people put that at number 4, but 500 put one at 1, and 500 put another at 10, the 1,000 at number 4 are going to win. So it's a very strange way of doing it. I get it. I get why they do it. But I think whereas BAFTA is clearly, if you're at number 1, you're number 1.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. The last couple of years, BAFTA has gone for the traditional picks, and best film at the Oscars has been unpredictable at times. So
can you imagine?
I think Top Gun could win it. If I'll lose my face on if Top Gun wins and we're on the stream, I'm going to honestly lose my shit. It's not going to happen. But that will be like one of the biggest moments in the history of the Oscars.
It would be a game changer, honestly.
It'd be the first blockbuster in 20 years to win.
Wait until Triangle of Sadness wins, just purely out of being a mid.
I had to laugh. The BBC ran an article this morning. Like, we're expecting 4 sequels to be nominated. It's like, you're not going to get 4 nominated for best film out of the 10. You'll get the 2, which was Avatar and Top Gun. You were never going to get Black Panther, and you were never going to get Glass Onion as best film. No. They're probably in the top 20. But I think it's so open this year, which is great because at this point last year, everyone said Power of the Dog's locked in, it's done and dusted. And then it drops off.
Coda came up hard. Coda came up so hard towards the end.
And then the Globes have been split at the moment. Everyone's splitting these awards. So I think it's going to be quite exciting moving forward, which makes it exciting for us. And for when we get Dave's on Sunday, that's going to equally make it exciting because Dave has obviously seen, I think he's seen almost all of them. I think he texted me. He's maybe got 1 or 2 left to see. So it's going to be interesting seeing how it pans out. And I guess that's how we say that this is how it's panned out for us. So we've got all of these on here. As I said, we've got a spreadsheet of everything logged on. If you want to get involved, you certainly can. Go in that description. Go in there. Download it. Please download it and send it. Don't just edit it. Just download it. It's weird, Google. It doesn't let me... It lets me allow it to be edited, and that's the only way you can download it. It doesn't let me allow it to be downloaded and not edited, which just logistically is ridiculous that they do that. But it does make sense. So if you do want to get involved, we'll have a prize for the winner, as we did last year. We'll have like a trophy, an Oscar statuette type thing. And whoever does win the predictions game will obviously make sure they get that. And kind of in line of that, with it being Oscar season, a lot of our reviews, of course, are going to start turning into Oscar reviews. So we've actually got 7 out of the 10 best films on the playlist already. The 3 remaining are Tar, Fablemans, and Woman Talking. So we'll have reviews for them. And then we'll also probably fill out, as we usually do, the acting categories. We've got most of them covered. And then we'll have our animated videos. So there's a lot of things happening. And as we always say, please do get involved. Let us know on social medias, Twitter and Instagram at @Sim_Savvy, Facebook and letterboxd.com. When we announce these Oscar videos, they always go on social media because we have to compensate for new releases, the James Cameron stuff, The Last of Us. It's a very busy time at the moment. So the Oscars will be coming up as and when. We'll have some will probably be live streams, some might be pre-recorded. Tar's a typical one. It's got a UK release and no cinemas are showing it, which is just me tweeting and seeing what abuse again. But yeah, there's a lot of things happening. So get us on social media. And comment, as we said, comment your thoughts as an overview on the stream. Don't comment them individually. Email them over to us. But it's going to be exciting. We've got Sunday, March the 12th. We've got, what is that, 7 weeks? 7 weeks till it starts. So it's slowly coming back to the old days. I think next year it will be the end of February as it used to be. BAFTAs is now mid-February like it used to be. So it's going to be a big month from the middle of Feb to the middle of March where, you know, BAFTAs and that happens. I think last year there was a catastrophe when BAFTAs was the same night as like the SAGs and no one turned up to the BAFTAs. So it'll be interesting to follow the award season, see the different countries, see what they do. But yeah. Tate, anything else have I forgotten about the Oscars for everyone at home?
No, I think everything is good about the Oscars. Yeah, wait until you see Dave's predictions as well on our video that will be published on Sunday.
Definitely. So everybody, please join us on Sunday for a live stream. It's the first time of a new series. It'll be something different. So do get involved. What else we got? We've got the Last of Us spoiler discussions every Monday. The best show on TV at the moment. So if you're curious, you can check them out. We'll be going live each Monday, me and Sam. As we said, there's Oscar stuff. There's the James Cameron retrospective. We've got The Abyss going up tomorrow on the channel. So it's a busy time, and it's going to be interesting to see how you all react to it. So I guess that'll do it for today. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care.